Hello, Namaste, and welcome to Agile Exploration Hub. I am your host Nagesh Deshpande. We are bringing new episode today, and the topic that we are going to discuss is beyond leadership. Build your brand in the era of AI. So, leadership, when we talk about leadership isn't just about managing teams anymore. It's about creating impact, building a brand, and staying relevant in the current world. And current world is all about AI driven world. So, in this episode of Agile Exploration Hub, we will speak with Vishal Prasad, who is a founder and managing director of Enterprise Joy, who introduced the Enterprise Joy Competency Model, a practical, structured way to grow beyond leadership and build a real influence. He also shares how professionals can strengthen their personal brands. Like I'm branding, leverage AI tools, everyone doing it right now, but expertise are required, and that's why Vishal is here, and shape their career with a purpose. So, if you are an agile professional aiming to stand out as a modern leader, this is a roadmap for you. Hey, hi Vishal,
Hello.
how are you?
Nice. All good, yeah. Happy to be here. Happy to speak with you once again.
Yeah. So, as you all aware, we record on weekends, and every episode or every new episode get released on Monday, 8 p.m. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon, and watch till the end. So, Vishal, what are we going
Yes.
to discuss today?
Today we will discuss going beyond leadership. And
Nice.
particularly this topic is close to my heart because luckily I've been in the leadership position for some time now. And not just me, but a lot of other people who I've spoken with who kind of become leaders close to their mid-career mark. They start, or me as well, we all start having some confusions about what's next for us. We are here.
Hmm.
Where do we go? And especially if you are somewhere in between, let's say 15 to 25 years, it's a very confusing period. Uh,
Absolutely.
the not the midlife crisis, but the mid-career crisis, if you want to call it that way.
Yes.
And a lot of professionals struggle during this period because not only is things moving quite fast. And given that we are in the AI era, things are moving quite fast. But also, they see things slowing down for them.
Hmm.
Climbing up the ladder, especially when you're in the initial phases of your career, happens much faster. For a lot of organizations, it's like rhythm work, right? Every 2 or 3 years, you get one additional promotion and new designation jobs or whatever. But as you start growing up the ladder, things start slowing down, and that creates some kind of anxiety.
Right.
uh, Me and my colleagues, we just did a rough calculation. If you are, let's say, in a position that is CEO or CXO -2, and just do a simple calculation that the CEO replaces, let's say, once in 5 years of an organization. And let's say every person in that organization hierarchy has two reportees. That would simply mean that someone who's at CEO -2, in a worst case scenario, is going to take 20 years to move from that position to the topmost position.
Of course.
That is obviously if they want to, uh, but it can take them up to 20 years to do that, which is crazy. And it obviously changes and increases based on how many reportees the CEO has. So it becomes very anxious kind of an affair for anyone who's, let's say, spent 20 years and now like, oh shit, things are slowing down and I don't know where to go.
Right.
And that's where the beyond leadership position comes in. Like, okay, you are there. What more? And one of the standard answers is leadership just keeps on growing. You keep on becoming a leader and leader. But the path is not very clear. That's where we will dive into today, and we have done
Right.
some work around it. So let's
Right.
see how it goes.
Right. So let's go hand in hand. Agile
Yes.
Exploration Hub purpose is also, if you look at our logo, is all about a lighthouse which shows you a path in the middle
Yep.
of the ocean.
Yeah.
And we have guidance of Vishal today, who is going to, guide us in this journey. So, without wasting much time, my first question is like, what is the idea of Enterprise Joy's competency model, and what makes it different?
Yeah. So the competency model itself is not something new, right? So competency models have been around for a while. Typically, if you have to think of it in any organization, it's a bunch of expectations that have been lined out for a particular role or a particular designation or grade, whatever you hold, right? So let's say if you're a project manager, hypothetically, you may be a new project manager. So let's call you a junior project manager, just for the sake of discussion. You become a project manager, you become a senior project manager, then you become something else, blah, 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 and things go on. And for every role or grade, you have some expectations.
Right,
And a lot of organizations create this because it gives some visibility of a career path for the people who are there. Right? So a new project manager might see, where do I see myself in a year or 2 years, 3 years, and so on. So that's a competency model, right? Now, one of the problems that happen is not a lot of organizations make this. So things become very subjective for them.
right,
So when it comes to, let's say, performance appraisals, or even when it comes to hiring,
right,
okay, two people wouldn't gauge the same person in the same way unless there's an objective way of gauging them. So you may end up recruiting people who are based on subjective biases. You may even give promotions to someone who's based on subjective biases. And that results in inconsistencies in the organization. A lot of the times we end up calling this politics,
politics,
even
yes.
though this is not. There's a very different notion of politics, and we can touch upon that. But it happens because the underlying method for doing that does not exist. So what Enterprise Joy does is it creates a competency model that is shared under Creative Commons license. And we are in the process. So we have labs, and within the labs, we are creating this for multiple roles. So our job is to go research in the industry, see what are the different kinds of competency models expected for different roles and grades and so on. And we create these models and make it available to everyone under Creative Commons. So organizations can simply put it up, use it as is if they want. But if they want to modify it so that it fits their purpose, you can do that as well. So that's
Nice.
the idea of a competency model, basically.
Right. And,
You
and I
asked,
hope all these details are available on your website, on your podcast.
so you can go on labs.enterprisejoy.com
Hmm.
and you will find the link to the competency model. So far, we have published two. By the end of the year, we plan to publish another four.
Nice.
So that'll encompass quite a few roles, especially in the software industry. And that makes it easier even for individuals. Like if you are confused about, hey, what should you do? And your organization does not provide one for you, so go download it, read through it, and do it.
Right. So
I do want to
I'll put the
highlight,
yeah, I'll put the
yeah,
link.
put the
Yeah, I'll
link.
put the link in the description box. Yeah, I'll put the link.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But you did ask why it is different.
Yes.
The reason it is different is, so the way we designed a competency model, we purposely kept leadership in the middle.
Hmm.
A lot of organizations keep leadership as the end result, and we keep it in the middle. So there are, let's say, two levels before, two levels after, and leadership is in the mid. And the whole purpose and idea of that is that you obviously are a leader somewhere in the mid of your career. And then there's this big ocean in front of you where you can sail. And that's what we try to cover. Now, not all the organizations may be able to do that. Uh, our purpose is to provide that so that it can be used in some way or man. That's the difference.
Nice. Nice. So much to do, so much to learn, and so much to, you know, experiment here.
Yep.
Uh Now, moving ahead. So what does this going beyond leadership mean in
Hmm.
today's, specifically I'll ask about AI driven workplace.
Hmm.
We also want to know about a little bit of agile, but AI driven workplace.
So let's talk first leadership in general.
Hmm.
Uh, who's a leader for you? someone who can guide the teams to success. And I want to enforce the word guide and not just make them successful. It's not like leaders have all the
Mm.
answers, but you have qualities that showcase that, hey, you are allowing others to bring the best that they can. Okay, so the coaching aspect, the guiding aspect, everything is over there. Leaders will provide autonomy and leaders will look out for new ideas and so on and so forth. So the idea of a leader is someone who makes others successful.
Right.
Right? And let's put the AI angle to it. Depends on how your organization or how your work requires the usage of AI. The way I look at AI is it's a fabulous tool for me to do research, and it's also my assistant. But at the same time, it is also someone who gives me brutal feedback.
Right.
So I've trained my models to basically, I want to brainstorm with you and I want you to be brutally honest with me. And the reason I had to do that was because most of the AI tools, if you just write something, they tend to appreciate you. Like, yes, Nagesh, what you're saying is right. This is what it's saying. I mean, that's not the kind of feedback that I'm looking for. But if you just use a prompt that says, hey, be brutally honest with me, and if your AI is smart enough, or if you have had a lot of conversations, then they start actual brainstorming, and then they start challenging you and uh, giving you different kind of ideas, and that makes it interesting uh, because then I am not just biased by my own thoughts. I have someone to question me. That's an exercise that leaders need to do more often. The critical thinking aspect and the challenging aspect and the debate aspect, that is what collaboration is all about. So just how a leader would collaborate with the team to do all of these things, AI would be this other person, if you want to consider it that way, with various flavors, obviously, that can do the same for the leaders. So it becomes a very useful tool for leaders to brainstorm, to get challenged, to increase their potential of critical thinking. That is what differentiates the leader in the AI era. You have someone always available to bounce ideas.
Great. Nice. So I'll add something here. If you want, if to my audience, if you want to read more about leadership, read a book. There is a book from Harvard Business School, Authentic Leadership. It's a very small, very nice book. I will strongly recommend to read that book. If you want, if you're in Pune, if you want it, I can lend you a copy of that book for some days. You can read it and give it back to me. It's a very good book. And now, uh, like we did mention about midlife crisis, but here, like we are discussing about mid-career professional.
Yeah.
So who wants to, and if how these mid-career professional practically apply Joy's competency model to grow their influence.
So there are various ways to use it. Uh, I have been speaking with a few people since a few years now who go through this say, similar kind of a routine. The question is, what do I do next? Simplest way for anyone to use competency model would be look at your role, look at the
Mm,
grade you are on, go to the competency model, probably do like a checklist activity about things that you have experience with, you have done, so on and so forth, and then see what next you can do. But that's a very crude exercise. Okay. If you really want to deep dive into it, the idea is to take the competency model and see how you can build it for a long term. I wouldn't consider a competency model that gives me success in 6 months or a year.
mm, agree.
Competency models are long term views.
Right.
And even though we are talking about mid career professionals, this is something that Gen Z does much, much better. Yeah, and I'm so proud of it. They start thinking about their career much, much earlier. Okay. I believe I was one of the few lucky ones who started thinking it much earlier in my career. And so I was able to plan out a few things in a few different ways. And I got some success and a lot of failures on the way, which is fine. Gen Z doesn't wait till the mid career point to think about this. They are thinking about this while they are in colleges and universities,
Right.
right? A mid-career professional who starts this, let's say, at their 15 to 20-year mark, are at the exact same point as a Gen Z, which means they have to do the exact same thing that Gen Z is doing in
Yes.
order to get the visibility that they are expecting. The only positive side over here is that because they carry that experience with them, they can do it a lot better. And then, by luck, if your network is much stronger than Gen Z, then you will start seeing the value much faster. Having said that, that entire process is that of brand building. I would use the competency model as a way to build my brand and to showcase my work and to make everyone aware of what I do and who I am. It is also unfortunate that we are defined by who we are and what we do, but that's a different conversation altogether. But that's what the competency model is all about. It's about helping you build that before the need arises or before the question comes in your mind, what next?
Right.
You can
So
start today.
yeah, absolutely. Yes. You can start today. So going back to what we discussed just now, the brand, the Gen Z. So it was very surprising for me, or even, it was a mixed emotions, I'll say. I saw a Gen Z having her own Instagram page. She is selling CV templates,
Mm,
and mid-career professionals like us are buying that CV template. I was like, wow, a Gen Z,
yeah,
she knows the idea about how to create a templates and how to market it
yeah,
using, and most probably she must be using some sort of AI also in the background. Oh,
yeah,
no, I'm not taking away
just
any.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
which is
absolutely
fine.
fine. Absolutely. Why not? It's there. Okay, and I'm not taking any even small credit away from that girl. She is leveraging it very nicely. I was like, wow, I want to be like that.
So here's a funny part. Okay, so I know all of us started making our first resumes when we were in graduation or
The
whatever, right?
graduation and all that. Yeah.
So we got into the habit of making resumes because we have to go and apply for our first job.
Right.
And obviously during our time, we had limited resources, so we found a few templates and we created resumes. Uh, you're saying that this lady who's in graduation, post graduation, uh, maybe, uh, she's selling templates, and mid professionals are looking at it. Funnily, if you go on LinkedIn, there are so many stories that are floating nowadays that talks about don't hire a consultant who's not been in your shoes.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you're going through, let's say, a resource crunch or funding crunch or whatever, don't get a consultant who's never been in your shoes because they will not be able to help you out. And I find that very odd,
Yes.
given that we are taking resume templates for someone who has not even got the first job. So that's the idea about it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, which point you are. You can start today as long as you know where your strengths lie and what is it that you want to do. And
Absolutely.
the reason I'm particularly pinpointing this one is that the competency model is probably the second or third step in the process. The first step in the process is to identify your strengths. So if, let's say, you have been a project manager for a while, and if you pick up the competency model, and the competency model comes in different grades and different roles, you probably will pick up the project management competency model because that is what you have been doing so far. Not necessarily that's the strength that you want to continue with. So one of the things with mid-career crisis is that it's not necessary that we continue doing what we want.
Hmm.
So before you even jump into the competency model, get your strength assessment done. There are various ways of doing it. Like
Where is way of doing?
we do it as well with Enterprise Joy or with Beyond Leadership. Uh, but get that done first because you never know where you want to go next. And that might be so much different than what you have done so far in your life.
Right.
I don't know if I have been lucky or unlucky, but I have played so many different roles in my career in the past 18 years now. Uh, I don't know which role I'm going to play next. And I'm okay with that.
Absolutely,
But
yes,
not a
yes,
lot of people are. But it's necessary to have strength assessment because your strengths will change, your purpose will change. And you need to do that before you just blindly pick up a competency model and start building your brand towards it.
right. So now that we are talking about brand here, so
Mm.
how can individuals start building their personal or professional brand effectively?
Effectively is
Yeah,
we'll come to
that's
that
the key
later.
word here.
Yeah, I think you and I discussed this during the conference.
Yes, yes, yes.
The key is consistency,
Right.
right? We can start anywhere.
Hmm.
As long as we are consistent, we will learn and we will refine and we will improve. But if we are not consistent, then we will not be able to do that in the best way. So effective, probably let's leave that to consistency. As long as we are consistent, that happens. We need to realize that it is a long term, it's a long game, right? It's
Long
not
game.
it's not something that you're going to get results
Right.
in a few months. There are steps that you can follow. If I have to reiterate on the strengths assessment, uh, a 360-degree feedback
Hmm.
probably is a good place to start. Having said that, you're looking for brutal feedback. You're not looking for feedback where you're being appreciated and probably just being told about what you're good at. Obviously, you do want to know what you're good at, but you want brutal feedback about what I've done well, where I could have done better, what should I do next, and so on and so forth. And have conversations with these people rather than just taking it on a form or something. And these people should be your confidants. They should be people who you can honestly speak with. If you can't have an honest conversation with someone, you will not get the best feedback. One of the tricks that I've learned from Dan Pink is that Dan Pink says, don't ask for feedback. When you ask for feedback, people usually speak good things about you. But if you ask for advice, you get advice.
Right.
So if you say, hey, I did this last month and this is what happened, but I'm looking for advice if I have to do it better, what would I do? You're still asking for feedback, but just changing that question changes the tone of the person who's going to respond to it. So get that feedback, start there. Then move on to your strength assessment. Very simple strength matching exercise would be things that you're great at doing and things that you love doing. And that intersection is what you want to do next.
Right.
And that intersection changes throughout the career. In the beginning of the career, like for me, that intersection was I just want to be a good developer, good programmer. Now that intersection is different, but the top and bottom of that matrix is still the same. Or if you want to make a better grid out of it, things that you're good at and things that you love doing. That is what you want to do more of. So one of the hashtags I use is do more of what you love.
Right. Nice.
You want to be there. Now the question arises, can you make a lot of money out of it? Probably, probably not. But as long as you're happy with what you get out of it, that's good. If you're not happy with what you get out of it, think of something different. It may
Right.
not be the best thing that you love, but if you're not happy with, or if you can't sustain, for example, figure something out.
Right.
Once you have that intersection, then the actual branding starts. One of the mistakes that a lot of people do is the moment they find that, they would jump with the branding. You need to give some time for people to forget your older brand and start learning about your new brand.
New brand. Yes.
That means you have to take a pause from everything. Take a pause from social media, take a pause from, let's say, speaking at conferences, take a pause from putting in code in your Git repositories. That pause is necessary for people
Hmm.
to think clearly of a refresh. And then when you restart, make it consistent.
Hmm.
During this pause, Strategically think about and plan about everything that you're going to do,
Right.
probably going to do for the next 6 months, going to do for the
Absolutely.
next year. Once that happens, then slowly and steadily brand gets built. Stay consistent. So it's a slow process. Now, the place where a lot of individuals struggle is getting till this point. That's something that people like me can help with, to help you get to that point. After that, you're on your own.
Right. Right. Mm.
But that point exactly where you're on your own is where the beyond leadership starts. Getting till that point, everything that you would do will require your leadership skills.
Right.
Right?
And
And
then, yeah, good. Yeah.
no, just to like complete that sense, everyone is different. I might do branding by speaking at conferences, writing on social media, blogging, whatever. Others might do branding, for example, the example that you gave about resume templates by doing something on Instagram
Instagram. Yeah.
or doing something on LinkedIn. Others may do their branding by actually advertising about what they do.
Yeah.
Ways of doing branding is different. One is branding as to what it is, the other is brand marketing, and then the positioning somewhere in between. And those three things have to go hand in hand. So yeah, we tend to productize ourselves. It's necessary.
Right. Okay, we are coming to our last question. What advice you give to the professional who are struggling to position themselves as a leader in today's AI world?
Uh, you will have to start at some point of time. Okay. And I completely understand that it is not easy if you have not done it before. So it's a learning curve, it's a change curve. Any change curve is going to be difficult.
Difficult.
Unfortunately, we are currently in an era where everything is moving fast because everyone has access to AI. And AI does give you a lot of answers. The only thing that I worry about is AI ultimately gives you mediocre answers.
Hmm.
So if everyone prompts the same things, everyone probably receives the same answers, which is also biased by the AI tool that you're using. So the AI bias exists. Use AI, don't blindly rely on it.
Hmm.
Bring your own flavor. Uh, Once you have found that, be consistent. Okay. And if you do find it challenging, then obviously we at Enterprise Joy are there for you. So we have the Beyond Leadership program. Based on that program, if you want to come in and try these things out for yourself, more than welcome. We can help you to get to that point where you are beyond your leadership phase. Okay. So if you look at the competency model, beyond leadership, there are the two paths that you can take. Okay. So that's the innovator path and the luminary path. Having said that, that's not the only two paths that you can take. Okay. Those are two paths that we have designed. There can
Okay.
be numerous other paths that you can take. What we can help you to do is that if you want to walk those two paths, we can help you get to that point of beyond leadership and take you till that point where you can sail by yourself. Okay? That's the idea of the Beyond Leadership program. So if you need help, we are there for you. Having said that, as long as you're consistent, as we said, and you have started with something, you will eventually get there. Some will get there sooner, some will get there later. Uh, Depends on how quickly you want to be there.
Right. Great. Yeah. So great discussion. So those who wants to connect with Vishal, I'll put his contact details, LinkedIn as well as Enterprise Joy contact details website in the description box. Feel free to connect, add a comment, reach out to him. and see the website and provide your inputs on that. So once again, from the entire audience of Agile Exploration Hub, we want to say thank you for being such a wonderful speaker today, and see you soon.
Same here. See you.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.